History of Property Law in India. By Shivaprasad Bose. Land law or property law has a long history. In this presentation, we study some of the main historical laws surrounding land and property in India and elsewhere in the world. Property law in Roman times. The Romans had the concept of compensation for wrongful damage to property. One of the provisions of the law called Lex Aquilae stated as regards things other than men and cattle which have been killed, if anyone does damage to another, and unlawfully burns, breaks, or ruptures something, let him be ordered to pay its owner whatever that thing is worth in the nearest 30 days. Property law in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Kautilya's Arthashastra, from 3rd century BC, had provisions for land management and division of inheritance. One of the property-related statements in that law states a father, distributing his property while he is alive, shall make no distinction in dividing it among his sons. Nor shall a father deprive without sufficient reason any of the sons of his share. Father being dead leaving no property, the elder sons shall show favor to the younger ones, if the latter are not of bad character. Property law in Torah and Bible. As per the original Jewish law described in the Torah, property was only to be inherited and not sold to outsiders. One of the quotes from Leviticus 25:23 states, "But the land must not be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine, you are but strangers resident with me." Later, sale contracts were instituted. Property law in Islam. Islamic law also provided for inheritance of property by legal heirs. There was the concept of wasiya or will, which stated how a person could willingly transfer 1/3 of their property to another upon their death. The law also has the concept of faraid or mirath, which defined how much proportion of the deceased person's property and assets should be distributed to which heirs. John Locke's view on property rights. John Locke was a British philosopher who wrote about property rights in his book The Two Treatises of Government. Locke's theory is called labor theory of property. As per Locke, under natural law, all people have the right to life, liberty, and estate, property. He argued for individual property rights as natural rights. Property law in England. English property law descended from a combination of Roman law and various feudal laws governing land and other property, including the Commons Act 1236 and Statute of Westminster 1285. After Reformation, important reformed property laws were brought in England, including Land Transfer Act 1875 and Land Registration Act 1925, which provided for land registration, Wills Act 1837 that dealt with transfer of property through wills, and the Law of Property Act 1925. Property law under British rule in India and later. With the advent of British rule in India and their creation of courts and a legal system modelled on the British legal system, property law changed in India. The Transfer of Property Act 1882 was the main act that stated the rules for transfer of movable and immovable property to another person. Together with the Sale of Goods Act 1930, which governed sale of property, and the Indian Succession Act 1925, governing succession of property to heirs or upon making a will, this law lays the foundation of property law in India. The same laws have survived in independent India with some modifications. Thanks for watching this brief history of how land laws and property laws have evolved. Please like, share and subscribe.